Right now as you're watching this, your cells are breaking themselves down from the inside, and that is one of the best things that can happen to you. There's a process running quietly inside every one of your cells that Nobel committees have called one of the most important discoveries in modern medicine. It plays a role in how you age and in your risk for diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's disease. Most people have never heard of it. It's called autophagy, and the real question is, can you actually control it? I'm Dr. Julia Peterson, a PhD-trained biomedical scientist, and I go through hundreds of research papers every month to bring you the insights that actually matter for your health. In today's video, you'll learn what autophagy is, why it's essential for healthy aging, and how to support it with simple science-backed daily habits. And stay until the end, because we will discuss a widely used medication that may be influencing this exact process in your body. The word autophagy comes from the Greek words auto, self, and phagein, to eat. It literally means self-eating, but rather than being destructive, this process is one of your body's most important survival mechanisms. There are three main types of autophagy. Number 1, macroautophagy. This is the main form people are referring to. Here's what it does. When damaged proteins start building up, when parts of the cell like the mitochondria stop working properly, or when the cell needs emergency energy, autophagy steps in. The cell wraps the unwanted material in a small sac called an autophagosome. That sac then fuses with a lysosome. Think of it as the cell's recycling center, where everything is broken down and recycled. This process is especially active during starvation or low nutrient states, and when it doesn't work properly, it's strongly linked to neurodegeneration. Number 2, microautophagy. This is a similar process, but instead of forming a sac, the lysosome directly pulls in and breaks down damaged material. It's less well understood, and research here is still limited. And then finally, chaperone-mediated autophagy, or CMA. This system is more selective. It identifies specific proteins tagged for removal and feeds them directly into the lysosome for destruction. Its role in certain diseases, like neurodegeneration, is still being actively studied. So when is autophagy actually active? It turns out it's not random. It follows your body's internal clock. Research shows that autophagy rises and falls throughout the day with different patterns depending on the tissue or organ. And sleep appears to play a key role in this cycle. One study found that during the day, waste components of the autophagy process build up in the brain, and sleep helps clear them out. But when sleep is disrupted, that buildup continues instead of being resolved. Human evidence is still emerging, but the pattern is consistent. Sleep isn't just rest, it's a critical window for cellular repair, and when sleep is disrupted, that repair process, including autophagy, is disrupted too. Why does this matter so much? Because when autophagy breaks down, the consequences can reach every level of biology, from rare congenital disorders with over 50 now identified to the brain diseases that define aging. Let's take a closer look. Here's something most people don't realize. Your brain depends heavily on autophagy to stay healthy, and there's a reason for that. Neurons, a type of brain cell, are built differently. They predominantly don't divide and replace themselves like many other cells in your body. They're designed to last your entire lifetime. On top of that, they also have a structural challenge. Neurons have long projections called axons and dendrites that can be 10 to 50 times the volume of the cell body itself, which means many pieces of cellular waste have to travel long distances just to be recycled by the lysosomes, which are located in the cell's body. When autophagy weakens, that waste can easily build up. Now, here's where it becomes critical. Diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and Huntington's all share a common feature: the buildup of damaged proteins. Your cells normally prevent this through a system called proteostasis, which keeps proteins properly made, stable, and cleared out through processes like autophagy. But when that system breaks down, misfolded proteins begin to aggregate. In Alzheimer's, it's amyloid beta and tau. In Parkinson's, it's alpha-synuclein. And once these proteins accumulate, they don't just sit there. They can actually interfere with the very autophagy system meant to remove them, creating a self-reinforcing cycle of damage. What's especially interesting is this. This process may begin years before disease onset. Neurons can compensate for a long time, using backup clearance systems like CMA to manage the damage. But as we age, those systems may start to also decline, and eventually, the buildup becomes unavoidable, tipping the balance towards disease in late adulthood. Genetics can increase this risk. Some of the same genes involved in rare childhood autophagy disorders are now being linked to diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and frontotemporal dementia later in life. So the question is, where did this all begin? To understand that, we have to go back to the discovery that changed everything. In 2016, a scientist named Yoshinori Ohsumi won the Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine for uncovering how autophagy works. And the story starts somewhere unexpected: baker's yeast. Back in the early 1990s, Ohsumi designed a clever experiment. He blocked the breakdown system in yeast vacuoles, the yeast equivalent of the lysosome, so anything sent there couldn't be destroyed. Then he did something simple. He starved the cells, and suddenly something remarkable happened. The vacuoles began filling with tiny structures, visible under a microscope, building up over time. For the first time, scientists could actually monitor the autophagy process. That was just the beginning. Next, his lab systematically turned off individual genes to figure out which ones were required for this process. The result? At least 15 specific genes were essential for autophagy. That discovery laid the foundation for the entire field. But here's what changed everything. When scientists looked for those same genes in humans, they found them. The core machinery of autophagy had been conserved across hundreds of millions of years of evolution. What happens in yeast essentially happens in you. Fast forward to 2026, in a large-scale study, researchers analyzed around 6,000 yeast gene mutants, nearly the entire genome, and they found that over 30% of all genes influenced how autophagy responds to nutrient stress. That tells us something important. Autophagy isn't a niche process. It's a fundamental system that operates across nearly every cell in your body. Across species, from worms and flies to mice and humans, changes in autophagy consistently showed up as a core feature of aging. This isn't just happening during aging, it's helping drive it. So the next question becomes obvious. If autophagy plays such a central role in aging, can we actually influence it with our daily habits? The answer is yes. The good news is this science is actionable. Here are 4 lifestyle factors that have been shown to directly influence autophagy. Number 1, sleep. Sleep is closely tied to how your brain maintains cellular health. Poor sleep is linked to neurodegenerative diseases, and one reason may be that autophagy is tightly regulated by your body's internal clock. When sleep is disrupted, autophagy is disrupted as well. In contrast, consistent high-quality sleep helps support it. Number 2, fasting and caloric restriction. These are some of the most well-studied ways to activate autophagy. In humans, long-term calorie restriction has been linked to increased expression of autophagy-related genes in muscle tissue. And in animal studies, both intermittent fasting and calorie restriction have been shown to activate autophagy, improve brain function, and reduce the risk of neurodegenerative diseases. At a cellular level, here's what's happening. A protein called mTOR normally keeps autophagy turned off by blocking another protein called ULK. During fasting, that block is lifted, ULK is released, and autophagy can begin. At the same time, another protein, AMPK, helps push the process forward. In simple terms, when energy is low, your cells switch from building to metabolizing instead. Number 3, exercise. One reason exercise is so beneficial may be because it activates autophagy. During physical activity, key proteins inside your cells separate, and that separation acts like a switch that turns autophagy on. And here's the key finding. When scientists blocked this switch from turning on in mice, many of the usual benefits of exercise were largely lost, which suggests this. Autophagy may be one of the main reasons exercise is so beneficial in the first place. Number 4, food choices. What you eat doesn't just affect your weight, it affects your cells. Certain compounds found in plant foods like green tea, turmeric, and extra virgin olive oil can activate autophagy, and dietary patterns like the Mediterranean, MIND, and DASH diet are consistently linked to a lower risk of Alzheimer's, with autophagy likely playing a role. So here's the takeaway. Autophagy isn't something that runs perfectly on its own forever. It declines over time, but the evidence is clear. Sleep, fasting, movement, and food choices can influence how well it works. Your cells are constantly responding to your environment. The question is, what signals are you sending them? And here's where it gets even more interesting. What if autophagy could be influenced by a medication you might already be taking? Because there's a common drug originally developed for diabetes that appears to do exactly that. Let's take a closer look. There's one more piece of this puzzle that's getting a lot of attention in aging research. A drug called Metformin. Originally developed for diabetes, researchers are now discovering it may have much broader effects. New evidence shows metformin can influence key processes linked to aging, including autophagy, which may help support healthier aging over time. Studies suggest metformin may suppress cancer growth, protect heart health, slow aspects of Alzheimer's disease, support cognitive function, and improve metabolic health, particularly in people with obesity. Notably, these are biological processes commonly affected during aging. That's why researchers aren't just studying it for blood sugar anymore, they're studying it for aging itself. In fact, metformin is now at the center of a major clinical trial designed to test whether aging itself can be treated, called the Targeting Aging with Metformin trial. And here's what's really interesting. Metformin works through some of the same pathways as things like strenuous exercise and calorie restriction. All three activate a key energy sensor in your body called AMPK, which helps switch on autophagy. And in animal studies, from worms and flies to mice, this process has been linked to longer lifespans. Let's wrap with the key takeaways. Autophagy is one of the most powerful systems keeping your cells and your brain healthy as you age, and it's not out of your control. The science shows your daily habits, how you sleep, move, and eat, directly shape how well this system works. Even certain medications may influence it. So this isn't just about aging someday, it's about what your cells are doing today. The real question is, are your daily choices helping your cells repair or slowly letting damage build up? Class dismissed. After watching this, what's one small change you might try this week? Let us know in the comments. If you found this helpful, subscribe for more research-backed health insights and check out our website for a full list of references.